If you're recording vocals, acoustic instruments, or any other type of field or ambient audio propelled through the air by sound waves, you will need a microphone to capture the sound. A microphone, like a speaker, is a transducer. It converts energy from one form into another, but it performs the exact opposite action of a monitor or speaker. Instead of taking an electrical signal containing audio information and converting it into sound waves, a microphone converts sound waves into electrical signals. How it does this depends on the type of microphone it is. As is everything else in the wild, wacky, wonderful world of recording, microphones come in many different flavors. When a mic is required, the situation will determine which kind you need to use. At the top of the list is what's known as the transducer element. This is the mechanism responsible for converting the mechanical movements of the diaphragm into electrical signals. There are three main types of transducer elements: dynamic, condenser, and ribbon. And there are clear advantages and disadvantages to each type, and care should be taken when choosing a mic for a particular job. Here's a breakdown on how they work and what situations are best for each type. The dynamic microphone is the workhorse of the studio and the go-to mic for live performances. They are kind of like a pickup truck in that they are built tough. They can withstand physical shocks, rough handling, and high sound pressure levels. And it is for this reason that they are regularly used on drums and in front of amp cabinets. They are also moisture resistant, which makes them perfect for outdoor use. Another reason they're popular is that they are affordable. These tend to be less expensive than condenser or ribbon microphones, and this is a great choice if you're just starting out with a limited budget. So the downside to dynamic microphones is their limited frequency range. Although the exact frequency response can vary from one model to another, they typically range from 50 to 15K. And this is fine for many specific applications, but you won't get the air and subtle nuances that you would with a condenser mic. Dynamics are best for capturing low and mid frequencies. Now, one of the reasons that dynamic microphones are tough is because of their design. Their innards are much simpler than a condenser mic. Earlier, I mentioned that monitors are the exact inverse of microphones. Dynamic mics are the kind of microphones I was talking about. Just like a speaker, a dynamic microphone consists of a diaphragm, a coil of wire, and a magnet. In a microphone, when sound waves strike the diaphragm, it causes the diaphragm to vibrate. And this movement varies the distance between the coil and the magnet, creating an electrical current, or voltage, in the coil due to the electromagnetic induction. Exactly the opposite of a speaker. So, here are some great dynamic microphones to check out. The Shure SM57, perhaps the most famous dynamic microphone of all time. It is relatively inexpensive, sounds great on just about anything, and it's built like a tank. The standard microphone for snare drums in almost every studio in the world. I've heard stories of stagehands using them on nails when a hammer wasn't available. Now, the SM57 has a twin brother called the SM58. They both have the same body construction. The difference is that the SM57 has a flat grill in front, making it better for instrument miking, while the SM58 grill is round, making it better for vocals. The SM58 grill also has a built-in shock mount, making it less sensitive to handling. Cool thing is that you can switch the grills if you need to, kind of like the Parent Trap. Those mics cost around $100 each. Next is the Sennheiser MD421. This legendary dynamic microphone is known for its versatility and high-quality audio performance. It has been a staple in the world of professional audio since 1960 and is often considered one of the best dynamic microphones available. It can handle just about any application you throw at it. I used them for many years on the toms of my drum kit. It sounds great on a kick drum as well. If you can afford one, get it, but I wouldn't use it to hammer nails, however. An MD421 will set you back around $430. Next, we've got the Electro Voice RE20. This microphone was introduced as a broadcast microphone in 1968 and it has been the industry standard for announcers in radio and television ever since. They are relatively flat with a warm bass response, which also makes them great for miking kick drums and bass guitars. Perhaps not the first choice for a studio microphone, but if you find yourself with an extra $450 laying around, it certainly wouldn't be a bad choice. It would give you an edge on your sound, since not many other home studios have one. There are many other dynamic microphones to investigate and many to stay away from. Many of these mics were created for specific purposes, so, as always, do your research first. Okay, now we go into the world of condenser microphones, where dynamic microphones are the jocks of the microphone world. Condenser mics are the ballerinas. They are delicate, elegant, and very sensitive. All right, I need to stop with these analogies. I'm probably going to offend a large number of you, so I apologize. But the key advantage of a condenser microphone over their dynamic cousins is their sensitivity, wide frequency response, and their ability to capture audio with exceptional detail and accuracy. And this allows them to capture the subtle nuances and dynamics of the sound source. Condenser microphones come in large, medium, and small diaphragm sizes. The diaphragm sits behind the grill and is a key component in the transfer of sound waves into electrical signals. I'll have more on how a diaphragm works a bit later in this section. Large diaphragm microphones have a diaphragm size of about 1 inch or more and capture audio with exceptional detail and warmth. These are the microphones of choice for vocalists, voiceovers, acoustic instruments, and other applications where warmth, natural character, and the full range of harmonic and transient response is required. Medium diaphragm condenser microphones are between a 1/2 inch and 1 inch in size and offer a good balance of sensitivity, providing accuracy while being more forgiving of handling noise, plosives, popping sounds, and off-axis sound sources compared to a large diaphragm microphone. They are often used to mic choirs, acoustic instruments, and as drum overheads. Now, small diaphragm condenser microphones, also known as pencil mics, are also between a 1/2 inch and 1 inch in size, just like their mid-size siblings. The difference is that their bodies are thin, cylindrical, compact, and lightweight, like a pencil. These mics are designed to excel in situations where capturing transients, high-frequency details, precision, and accurate representations of acoustic instruments and sound sources is essential. These are typically used for acoustic instruments, drum overheads, percussion, orchestral and classical recordings, choir and a cappella, location sound recording, and stereo and ambient recording. Now, these last two have specific requirements. Location recording usually requires a type of small diaphragm mic known as a shotgun microphone. These mics can pick up sound from a distance with clarity and detail, and they are usually attached to a long boom pole and held by audio technicians' hands. Stereo and ambient recording often require special miking techniques such as XY, ORTF, and spaced pair configurations, which involve specific placement of two small diaphragm mics. While the sensitivity of a condenser microphone is exactly why you would use it in the first place, it can sometimes be an issue in environments where there's a lot of activity and noise or where people are stomping around on solid floors. You have to make sure that there is as much silence as possible when using one because they pick up everything. Take care of any grounding hums, HVAC units, mumbling guests, or children before you hit the record button. To get rid of the stomping, you need to enclose your condenser mic in a shock mount. This is a device that absorbs vibrations before they get to the microphone. Some condenser mics come with a shock mount, while some do not. So you may have to purchase one separately. And these are found anywhere condenser mics are sold and range from $30 to over $300. Now, usually the more expensive the microphone, the more expensive the shock mount. So a condenser microphone is also known as a capacitor microphone. A condenser mic is a type of a transducer that converts sound waves into electrical signals with the help of an electrically charged diaphragm and a backplate placed very close to each other. The diaphragm is a thin, lightweight membrane, usually made of a a material like mylar or gold sputtered plastic. The diaphragm and the backplate are each charged with a voltage which creates an electric field between them. When sound waves strike the diaphragm, they cause the diaphragm to move. The movement of the diaphragm results in a variation in the distance between the diaphragm and the backplate. As the distance between the diaphragm and backplate changes, the capacitance, or the ability to store an electric charge between them, also changes. When the diaphragm moves closer to the backplate, the capacitance increases, and when it moves away, the capacitance decreases. This creates an electrical signal, which represents the audio waveform. The waveform is analogous to the sound pressure variations. The electrical signal is typically at a very low level and requires amplification. And then the amplified signal is then output to the mic cable. So most condenser microphones require an external power source to provide the polarization voltage needed for the diaphragm backplate configuration to work. And this power source is commonly referred to as phantom power and is typically provided by an audio interface, mixing console, or a microphone preamp. The phantom power is sent to the microphone via the mic cable. Now, some condenser microphones are known as electret condenser microphones, and these are designed to operate with lower voltage sources or batteries. Here are some iconic condenser microphones to research. The Neumann U87. This is perhaps the most iconic and widely used large diaphragm condenser microphone in use over the past 50 years. If you listen to any type of professionally recorded music or voiceover, then you have probably heard a U87. Unfortunately, with their clarity, natural but authoritative presence, flat mid-range, and gentle presence boost, these divas come in at a fairly hefty price. Most stores sell them for around $3,700. Neumann also makes the TLM 103 and 102. If you just can't afford to pay the $3,700 for a U87, for a very small sacrifice in presence, you can own a Neumann TLM 103. This gives you Neumann bragging rights without selling your family into slavery. You might also consider the less expensive TLM 102. You do give up a bit more quality with that model, but hey, it's still a Neumann and it still kicks the tuchus out of most other mics at that price point. The TLM 103 costs around $1,195, and the TLM 102 is around $730. Next, we have the AKG C414. These widely used large diaphragm condenser mics are based upon the legendary AKG C12. They come in two flavors. The XLS is the smoother in frequency response with a similar sound to the vintage C414 UBL. The XL2 has a boost in the higher frequency above 5K, which provides a specific character to the sound. Find somewhere to test out both to see which you prefer. These both come in at around $1,320 each. Okay, we were talking about shotgun mics. So we have the Sennheiser MKH416. This is the industry standard shotgun mic for filmmaking, documentaries, television, and voiceover work. It features low noise, excellent feedback rejection, no compromised sound quality, and an RF condenser design, which, among other things, protects against humidity. An industry standard will always be pricey, but you get what you pay for. It runs around $999. All right, now I'm gonna throw this in, the Rode NT-G3. Okay, I'm putting this in here because it's a worthy alternative to the Sennheiser MKH416. This shotgun has all of the features of the MKH416 at a third of the price. I have one for voiceovers, and it has a killer bass response that I sometimes use over my Neumann TLM 103. A worthy opponent at around $700. Speaking of Rode, I love Rode microphones for their superior design and reasonable price point. Now, here are two pencil mics that can be used for similar purposes, drum overheads for me, but differ in quality and price. Okay, if you can swing a pair of NT5s, definitely get them. Otherwise, the M5s are very decent mics that won't break the bank. A pair of NT5s will cost around $430. And I've seen pairs of M5s going for around 200 bucks. So if you're rolling in the dough, if you have that chest of gold doubloons under your bed, Rode also has a pair of TF5s that have killer specs and a price tag to match, around $1,500. But they're beautiful. There are so many condenser microphones out there of varying quality, ranging from $35 all the way up to $20,000. Even higher if you're a collector of vintage mics. Besides the companies that I've mentioned, other brands producing quality mics include Shure, Audio-Technica, Lewitt, Beyer Dynamic, CAD, Audix, Chandler, Behringer, MXL, Schoeps, SC Electronics, Telefunken, Sony, Warm Audio, plus hundreds of others. So get out there on a condenser mic safari and bag the beast for your buck. Microphones only. I do not endorse bagging live animals. Ribbon microphones. They're known for their warm, smooth, and vintage sound characteristics. They tend to roll off high frequencies and have a natural, transient response, resulting in a soft and natural sound with a focus on mid-range frequencies. And this sound quality is often favored for recording vocals, brass instruments, strings, and guitar amplifiers. These mics use a very thin strip of metal, the ribbon, as the diaphragm. Like condenser mics, this ribbon is suspended with a magnetic field. And when sound waves hit the ribbon, it vibrates, generating an electrical signal through a magnetic induction. They are less sensitive than condenser or even dynamic microphones, and they have lower output levels. Unlike condenser microphones, however, you do not use phantom power on these mics. You can easily fry the thin ribbon with an externally applied voltage. As a result, they will require a preamplifier with a good amount of gain to bring the signal up to an appropriate level. Okay, let's talk about polar patterns. So every microphone, whether it's dynamic, condenser, or ribbon, has a polar pattern, also known as a microphone or pickup pattern. Now, this is the directional sensitivity of a microphone, the areas around the microphone where it is most and least sensitive to incoming sound. Understanding microphone patterns is essential for choosing the right microphone for a specific recording application. There are several common patterns, each with their own particular characteristic. First, we have omnidirectional or omni. An omnidirectional microphone captures sound equally from all directions. Microphone, sound source, creating a 360-degree pickup pattern. It is equally sensitive to sound from all angles. Omnidirectional microphones are commonly used for recording room ambiance, orchestras, choirs, and other situations where capturing the surrounding environment is important. Next, we have cardioid patterns. A cardioid microphone has a heart-shaped polar pattern, which offers good isolation from background noise and feedback rejection. They're often used for vocal recording, solo instruments, and for rejecting unwanted sounds from the sides and the rear. A supercardioid microphone has a narrower pickup pattern than a cardioid microphone. It is most sensitive to sound from the front, but has a small area of sensitivity at the rear. This pattern provides even more directivity for isolating the sound source and reducing background noise, and are used in live sound and studio applications where precise sound source isolation is required. Now, a hypercardioid microphone, it is most sensitive to sound from the front and has a more pronounced rear lobe. This pattern is ideal for applications where maximum sound source isolation is needed. Next, we have the bidirectional microphone. And this mic captures sound from the front and the rear, but rejects sound from the sides. It has a figure 8 polar pattern, and it's used primarily for capturing sound from two opposite directions. These mics are perfect for interviews, duets, and other applications where two sound sources are present on opposite sides. Now let's talk about shotgun microphones. They use something called a lobar pattern. Shotgun mics have an extremely narrow and highly directional pickup pattern, often less than 30 degrees. They are designed for capturing audio sound from a very specific direction while rejecting sound from all other angles. Shotgun microphones are commonly used in film and video production to isolate dialogue and sound effects in noisy or distant environments. Now, some microphones have switchable polar patterns, allowing the user to select from multiple patterns: cardioid, omnidirectional, figure eight. These microphones offer versatility and can adapt to different recording situations and sound sources. The choice of microphone pattern depends on the specific recording requirements. Different patterns are chosen to achieve the desired balance between capturing the desired sound source and rejecting unwanted noise or sound from other directions.